Well, I'm working on getting the top end apart now. Turns out there wasn't anything in there, and the actual exit for that pin was over here. So I had been tapping in the wrong spot and from the wrong side, but I smartened up pretty quick. The pin was actually not tapered at all, but it was mushroomed over. And may upgrade that to something better. Maybe put a screw in or something to make it easier to remove in the future. But yeah, there must have been a burr or something raised in here, because this is being real tough getting this out. But it's coming along slowly. Got the shaft loosened. I've got the help of trusty spanner wrench. And I actually got several of these in a toolbox I bought off of a neighbor for $5. And there was a lot of other tools in there, but I was looking at these, and what I thought was really interesting is if you look closely, you can see the grinding marks. These are handmade. And the story I got was that the fellow who owned the box was a motorcycle mechanic back in the 1920s. So he did a rather nice job, and I've got several of these wrenches that he made, and they do come in handy from time to time. So this one just happened to be the perfect fit. So that's been helping a lot to work that gear off. Also worked on this collar as well, because there was a burr raised in here. So I'll either machine some grooves in or file a flat for the set screws to sit so that doesn't happen again. And that's just good practice, good measure. You know, you got to think of the people in the future that have to work on these machines. How are they going to get them apart again? Also, you notice we've got one brass gear and one steel gear. So some machinist long ago, I don't know if they made that gear or if they just got that gear and it happened to be the right one and just put it on there. Not any drill or any tool for that matter that's been around for 100 years. Okay, we're back, and it's the next day, and I've got the top shaft out and the pulleys and everything, and the bevel gear. Here's what she looks like once I got her out. And there's a little rust on this side. I'm thinking this probably sat maybe outside for some time, and some water got down in the top here. But I measured it, and it's measuring 749 along the unworn parts, and it's only measuring 748 where it rides in the bearing there. So this shaft is actually still good, and it should clean up and look fine and operate fine. But I took some coaxing with the hammer too to get that sucker off of there. And see, it looks like they turned down the end of this shaft here so that it would fit this bevel gear, this brass bevel gear. I don't know whether they did that at the factory or not. You can see that this is actually cast, which is, I don't know, I think it's interesting. You know, more modern gears are going to be made out of, bar stock. Well, anyway, back to cleaning. Well, for cleaning and degreasing small parts, I like to keep I keep a coffee can, a metal coffee can, with gasoline in it. And I've got this little, you know, I'm not sure what the heck this is called. I'm not sure if this is made for this or if this is some sort of a kitchen thing. They got that at a swap meet somewhere. It's just perfect to put the little parts in, and that closes up. And we can go ahead and just put them on in the dip and let them soak. Get another gear up here. That looks like it's in really nice shape. Look at that. There's even an oil hole, oil port there. Probably plugged up. We'll clean that all out. Into the dip that goes. Anyway, yeah, a lot of people say you shouldn't use gasoline to clean things. It will eat paint. Don't ask me how I know that it will eat paint, but it's an excellent degreaser, and it's cheap. You know, I wouldn't use it, you know, in a closed-up space with smoking cigarettes, running an angle grinder or anything like that, but we'll go ahead and we'll put this outside and let all that grease and oil get off there and clean them parts up nicely. And when we're done, you just put the lid back on and save it for the next time. Because the end of the shaft is so battered looking and I just don't like it, and it's not center drilled, I'm going to go ahead and just face this off a little bit, and I'm going to center drill it. And that way I can move it out easily and hold it when I come to sand it and polish it. This steel seems to be quite free machining. Probably leaded. No, we can't have lead in so many things anymore. I don't know, some jerk off said it's bad for you or something, I don't know. You don't eat it and you don't breathe it in, and I think you're pretty much okay. Kind of weird, I'm doing this through the camera now and not actually looking at the lathe itself. Look at how smooth that stuff cuts. I wish I could get a pile of this. Probably actually running a slower speed than I could be running. Alright, I think we get the idea. When I'm center drilling, I only like to use one finger and just very carefully ease that tool in and let the tool do the work. It's very, very easy, and I've done it before. That's how I learned to not do it. It's very easy to break these center drills off, and of course you can't drill that out or anything. You'd need an EDM machine. So you've either got to cut it out or the work is spoiled if you can't cut it out. Just a little tip. Much nicer. It's all about the details. You know, as they say, the devil is in the details. And here we are, more sanding. Now you mostly want to stay away from the, I don't know the proper name for them, but the part of the shaft that rides in the bearing. You only want to give that a light polish, even if it is a little pitted. Take the burrs off and it'll be okay. The midsection in the light doesn't matter, but it's going to be seen, so we want it to be as pretty as possible. So you could take more off of that part. Get some more parts all cleaned up. That oil hole there was completely plugged up. I actually had to push a good bit with a good bit of pressure to get that cleared out, and now it's all clean. And man, look at the wear on that keyway. Or not the keyway, but the key itself. So, let's see if I can get the light down in there. Well, it doesn't go down all the way. Maybe you can see from the other side. But, yeah. So, I'm probably going to replace that. Although I haven't totally decided yet. You know, it's not going to hurt the function of it. I just hate that looseness. Yeah, we'll see. Just thought I'd show that. I got the other gear. Get that cleaned up as well. Shiny brass gear. Got the top shaft back in. And, cleaned up. Not totally back in yet, but, you see, I ended up facing and center drilling both of the ends, just to clean them up a little bit, put a little bit of a chamfer on here. This didn't have a chamfer on it before. Now, this gear was a real pain to get off. Now it just slips right on. So, now it puzzled me for quite a bit how they poured this bearing here, because you've got one going through here and then another one going perpendicular to it, and you know, of course they have to meet up on the inside so that the gear that rides in here can engage with the quill. It seems like you could turn a mandrel and put that in there, and you'd have to have a mandrel here with a cutout in it so that those two will basically kind of interlock, but and you would have to pour the bearing that way, I think. This bearing in here is tight because that's just for the handle, you know, to raise and lower the quill. But this bearing has an excessive amount of wear in it, and yeah, you can't see down in there, but anyways, I'm debating what to do. You know, I really don't fucking want to re-pour these bearings. It's just going to be a big pain in the ass to do. And then, of course, I'm going to have to repaint, and I really don't want to paint. Okay, so in order to actually pour this bearing here, this bearing is a smaller diameter than this bearing. They have to be perfectly aligned. And then, of course, those two bearings have to be in alignment with the table, so everything is trammed in and it'll drill a straight hole. Yeah, remember there's no tilt on this table, which is I actually prefer. I want the table to be, fixed. But all that aside, you would have to make, or I'd have to make a mandrel that's this diameter, then steps down, and it would have to register to the table somehow, I think. So what I was thinking is maybe some sort of a plate that you could clamp down with a socket in it that would accept the end of this mandrel, because of course to get this out after you've poured the bearing, it has to come up. You can't take it down, so that whatever registers on this table has to be a separate piece. And then of course there's also that issue of having to have a cutout in it and interlock, so these would all have to be basically repoured in one setup. You'd have the mandrel in here, and you'd have to take that out first, and then this would come out the top. So yeah, it'd be nice if I could get in here with like an adjustable reamer, and then just ream this out and put in an oil light bushing. And the other thing I noticed too is I think, I have to clean this up a little bit, but I think that this might have been actually bored out and there's a machined surface inside of this, I'm going to call it the journal for lack of a better name. I think that is the proper name. But I think the inside of the journal actually might have been machined out.